So today we'll be talking about the space race, and the space race in its essence is the struggle to be ahead in space in the Cold War. Having a bipolar world means that there's always the two factions are going to struggle to be better than the other, and so when Russia launched Sputnik 1 in 1957, followed by Sputnik 2, the United States felt like, wow, Russia is competent now. They know what to do with themselves. We have to catch up, especially when Laika, the dog Russia sent in Sputnik 2, was able to survive and come back. Maybe man can survive in space. Following the launch of Sputnik 1 by Russia, the United States was thinking, if the Russians can do it, we probably can do it better. And so when they started launching rockets, and these rockets were pretty unsuccessful, as they probably left, like, I don't know, 20 feet off the ground, came down crashing, and all that money goes to waste. And they're like, right, we really are behind the Russians. They managed to get 2 vessels into space already, one of a dog, and we have yet to even leave the ground. Upon seeing Sputnik, the United States starts building a rocket. They're like, hey, let's see how this rocket works. And there's a bunch of pieces in front of them, and all they do is just put it together. They thought it would be really simple. It's like, hey, it's like Legos, Just add the blocks together, and yeah, it'll work. But unfortunately, as I mentioned before, the rocket hardly leaves the ground, and this project was called Mission Vanguard. After the 2 failed attempts at launching a rocket, Eisenhower instated NASA in order to further advance their space program, and NASA was looking for astronauts to lead Project Mercury. Out of the 508 men who applied to be astronauts, only 7 were selected, and the 7 selected underwent intense training procedures. And what they did was they had to go through a bunch of physical training in order to get their bodies ready for space. They had to be able to be put into weightless training, be able to adapt, be able to maneuver once they reached no gravity. And some of the training was watched on TV by the public, and they were considered heroes. They were training extremely hard, and they were venturing into space, like the one place that no one really knew about. Training alongside of them were a bunch of chimpanzees, but as training went on, there was one exceptional chimp that really shined, and his name was Ham. But the name wasn't given to him until after they came back. But we'll call him Ham anyways, because it's a simple name and it's pretty distinguishable to recognize him. The Mercury's training really didn't do much, because they were aiming to be the first men to be in space, but Russia had to be a buzzkill and send out Yuri Gagarin to be the first man in space. And what he did to really upset the Americans was he did something that the Americans probably weren't planning to do. He orbited the Earth one full revolution. And so America's like, wow, we're losing the space race pretty badly. And then John F. Kennedy comes along and is like, alright guys, we have a change of plans going on. How about we become the first guys to actually touch the moon, maybe? Be the first men on the moon. That will show the Russians who really owns space. And so the mission for the men on the moon would start into 1969, and it'd be called Apollo 11. Apollo 11 basically had 3 key members. You have Neil Armstrong as the commander, you have Michael Collins as the pilot, and you have Buzz Aldrin as another pilot. And the first man to actually step on the moon itself was Neil Armstrong, and his very famous quotes: "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." And the Americans were extremely proud of this feature, as because the Russians, all they did was just float around space. Like, hey, look at me, I can float around the Earth. So what you guys have to know about Apollo 12 to Apollo 17 is like they're just going to the moon to collect samples of things. Just know 14 to 17 had rovers. So even though the space race has ended, we still continue to look for new discoveries in space. We try to map the final frontier. It is a never-ending cycle which will keep us going for quite a while.